Hi, I'm Dan Aubuchon, and welcome back to the Joy of Tennis Teaching. This is going to be the start of some videos that I've been very excited to make because I'm going to get to relive teaching again in a virtual way. So as you know, in the last few videos, we talked about the Listen, Observe, Teach framework for how to approach all your lessons. So today we've got the mythical student that I've met, and we started talking and I asked all the right questions. And in the listen phase, what I learned is this man is in his early 40s. He's a former athlete. He took up tennis about 10 years ago. He plays just for fun and recreation, although what he really loves about it is the competitiveness. He has a group of friends that he plays regularly with, not organized tournaments, but very, very competitive. And he's looking for that advantage over his opponents. He plays mostly on a medium speed hard court. He plays year round, probably once, sometimes twice a week if he gets to play extra on the weekend. And he's looking to improve his ground strokes, especially his backhand, which he feels is his weakness. So in the observe phase, I warm up with the student, feeding him some balls and then rallying with him. And I observed that he was right. His backhand is the weakness of his ground strokes. So eventually I really want to approach some other parts of the game, especially the serve. But in that first lesson, I've got to capture his trust and earn the belief in me as a teacher. So what we're going to do is we're going to fix up his backhand. His forehand looks very, very solid, but here's one of the more important points of this video. If you teach, please do not teach a ground stroke lesson where you teach only the forehand or only the backhand. You can emphasize one or the other, but definitely teach both of them, because what we want is we want that idea of the transition between the forehand and backhand. Often that's where some of the problems lie. So we start talking and I give the student my evaluation after what we've listened and observed. And I say to him, you're right, your backhand is the area of your game that needs the most work. And I said, here's a decision that you have to make as a student. And I love involving the students in the decision-making process of what way the lesson will go. I said, you've got right now a pretty average to weak two-hand backhand. Here's my question to you. Do you want to stick with the two-hand backhand and try to improve it? Or are you open to trying a one-hand backhand? I love teaching one-hand backhands to athletic men who've never had any instruction. So I'm hoping inside that he'll choose that option, but I try to frame the question fairly and really give him the option. So let's say he goes with option one. He decides he's going to do the two-hand backhand. This is really a pretty easy option because what we do here is we introduce him to the opposite hand ready position. We explain to him how he's got to bring the hand down and then wind up to hit it. And we really try to emphasize the relaxing of the right hand and the hitting with the left hand. In fact, I'll probably have him do a number of hits off of softly tossed balls with left hand forehands, with his left hand being up pretty high on the grip. Once we've got that, I'll move further away and feed him balls. Now this time I'll start feeding in one forehand, two backhands, two forehands, 4 or 5 backhands. Again, making sure he can make that transition, emphasizing the ready position and emphasizing that move to make sure that his left hand is very, very active. Now, because he's a former athlete and he still moves very well, the two-hand backhand should be just fine. But let's say he took the other option. Let's say he was open to learning how to hit a one-hand backhand. Again, I would start with the left hand ready position, but I would emphasize the changing of the grip, how to make that move where you go from the forehand grip to the backhand grip, and then preparing the racket, getting it into the ready position. And I would really spend a lot of time on getting him comfortable with that grip, getting that grip ready, tapping the ball back to me softly, hitting a forehand, tapping the ball back to me softly, so that that change of grips becomes very, very automatic. And the change of grips by turning the racket with his left hand is the real key to the emphasis. Then I'll move further away, feed balls. Eventually, if the lesson's going very well, we'll get into a rally. So the idea here is we can teach the one-hand backhand to any player. It's got nothing to do with strength or anything like that. It just has to do with overcoming that resistance to a backhand grip by learning to find that backhand grip with the opposite hand. So that's the lesson as I would go through it. Obviously, we condensed it down for time, but my 3 points from this lesson that I hope you'll take away are: number one, observe the ground strokes as a whole. If somebody says, I want to improve my backhand, say, great, let's warm up both sides so that you can see the transition from the forehand to backhand, because you'll often discover that's where the problem lies. Number two, involve the student in the process of making the decision. You might say, look, I think you would really benefit from X change in your game, but here's the downfall. I remember once in Malaysia, I was coaching this man who was the king of our B players. And he really kind of hoped he could get in with the small group of A players, but he had a very awkward, unusual game. He played everything with a full Western grip: serve, return, forehand, backhand, and volleys. And in the doubles matches with the A players, that Western grip volley was killing him. And so the big question was, do you want to invest the time and effort into learning the right grip, or do you want to make the best of that grip that's really going to limit how far you can get? And he thought about it. He says, look, I just play tennis for fun, and I'm so locked into this grip. Let's just improve it as best we can. And that's what we did. So involve the student in the decision making. And then once you've got the okay for which direction you're going to go with the lesson, invest your time in getting the fundamental right. For the two-hand backhand, the fundamental is making sure the left hand is the dominant hand. For the one-hand backhand, it's making sure that the grip change happens. I hope you've enjoyed today's lesson, and go out there and spread the joy of tennis.